Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where we are currently ready to attempt our landing at long last. Now you'll notice we've got struts on here, you'll notice we've got Kerbals in here, and you'll notice we just teleported here. You can tell that because we've got all this atmospheric heating that will go away as soon as we turn the physics on. So what ended up happening was I decided not to do the extremely tedious and laborious process of moving them over. It shouldn't have been necessary to begin with, for one thing. And for another thing, it would have been just much faster, I realized, to teleport everything back to Kerbin, recover it, and then teleport a new one back here, completely intact, in the state it would be when we arrived here, with all of the Kerbals aboard. So, yeah, that's what I did here. So that's what we've got. We managed to get this out here legit, and then everything broke. So we fixed the braking. That's what we've got. So that's wonderful. We're in basically the exact position we want to be to bring this guy down. So let's extend out our heat shields. And we're going to have to get turned into position here. And I also want to extend our solar panels. So let's get going on that. I clicked on this button. I'm not sure it actually happened. There, now our solar panels are extending. Okay, so that will be absolutely fine. We need to get turned into a retrograde orientation here. And the question is, in this kind of default position we find ourselves in, are we going to land on land or on water when we burn retrograde here? I have no idea. Hopefully it's water, because I'm not sure we'll well, explodium. Hopefully it's explodium, because I'm not sure we'll survive a land landing. But we're going to find out. So as you can see, we are turning here, and we're going to commence this burn fairly soon. I want to do the burn in warp because I want to get through as much of the burn as we can here. Why are we going up towards the normal node? Or I guess that's anti-normal. Okay, whatever. We are actually trying to go to retrograde. And I want to be in surface retrograde. There we go. So we're going to position here, and then we're just going to commence this full burn as soon as we're close enough to surface retrograde is what we need to be. So that's the idea here. And these tanks out here, they will be burned out before we enter the atmosphere, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since we've done this re-entry test. We have had so many problems with this particular mission. No doubt about that. But we're definitely making good progress on it now. So we can see our electric charge is dropping, which isn't surprising. We're not burning any engines right now, but we should have everything completely fresh here. No broken struts. I just teleported this from the VAB moments ago. So this should be absolutely fine. Now, I think we'll have different Kerbals here, but it really doesn't matter. So we're fully populated on our Kerbals, and this should be fine. Excellent. Now we're overshooting this way because we didn't need to be here. I don't know why we didn't just yaw over in the first place, but whatever. I guess it's fine. So we're just angling ourselves over, and then we're going to commence this burn, which should require us to stage. Yes, we are at 100, so that should require us to stage. Our first event will be our kind of mini burner burning out right in the back there. And then we'll jettison that. Okay, we're still trying to yaw over here. I wish that we could physics warp this, or do this turn outside of full physics simulation, but unfortunately that is not a thing. Okay, so we can see we're kind of over explodium right now. We are, I think, going into the dark side, though, and this might not be the exact time we want to do this burn, to be honest. So maybe what we should do is we should start up this burn as we are coming out over here. I want to know... Okay, pause, please. I'd like to have some performance. Okay, so this out here basically this entire hemisphere is land. This is explodium out here. So what I want to do is I want to commence our burn sometime around here, which we can't actually do. Sure, I guess we're time warping to point. That's not at all what I wanted. The performance was so low that the button flashed up there. Okay, so what I actually want to do here is I actually want to warp to, well, I actually want to start an ability. Not an ability. I want to start a burn timer sometime around maybe like here or so. Okay, we're turning on the physics right now. It's going to be a whole thing. Okay. But yeah, basically this entire hemisphere is land. And that's really, really not ideal for us. Let's actually consider giving it an orbit. Actually, we're going to need to give it a lot more than one orbit. So what I want to do is I want to give it some time here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop back to the tracking station. And we are going to, from the tracking station, well, we're actually going to have to head to the KSC. And then go into the tracking station. And from there, I want to warp ahead until such a time as most of the lit hemisphere is explodium. That's the goal here. So, let's hop into the tracking station and get that going. Eventually it will unload and load the KSC. But the performance should be pretty decent once we get this loaded, in theory. It really shouldn't take all that long. But apparently it does. Okay, well, I guess I will be right back when this finishes loading. Okay, so here we are loaded up into the tracking station, and I want to just advance time forward here, and we're going to keep an eye on the current position of this landmass. We just want the landmass to be mostly on the other side, and we want to be landing in the explodium. So let's head on forward here, and we can see... Okay. Something kind of more akin to this, right? Where there's a lot of explodium out over here, but I kind of want to let this go forward a little more and take a peek at what the actual land to explodium ratio is. Okay, yeah, that's going to be our best bet then. So if we were to do it sometime around here and maybe angle for this C, that could maybe do the trick. So let's head over to our, I believe this should be our default name 3. We're going to control that. And this is going to take a moment to load in, for sure. Okay. This is the wrong vehicle. Of course it is. We'll switch to the other one. If I can. Can we pause? I want to be able to select this. Okay, there we go. So now we'll switch over to this vehicle, which is the correct vehicle. So that should be fine. And now all we need to do, I did check the text of the... That's very interesting looking. Will that fix itself once it loads the physics? Yes. Okay, good. Okay, so let's pause this for now. I did check the text. All we need to do is land and take off again. So that's indeed exactly what we're going to do. So we're looking to bring this down. Right, we have to be unpaused to do this. We're looking to bring this down sometime over here, but this is a long ways away, right? This is 21 minutes. We need to do basically a full orbit. So we're going to need to bring this speed down. Something kind of like this, but we're just angling to come down in the explodium. So we're going to need to align to this maneuver. But we're going to want to change the timing on this maneuver a little bit. And this maneuver is just marking Like, it should start over Explodium, and it should end over Explodium, and have Explodium all the way throughout. This will guarantee that we land in Explodium, which is exactly what we're looking to do. So it would be something kind of like this, but we're actually going to overburn this. So it would be a little more akin to like this or so, but we're going to have to orbit around, and that's absolutely understood. But we need to get positioned for this burn. We can see that the current position is up here, and we are turning towards that right now. But we're going to have to get into position. Then we're going to need to warp to about here or so. And then we commence that burn, is the idea. So we can see our electric charge right now. That is absolutely understood that our electric charge is going down. We're just positioning ourselves here to guarantee an Explodium landing. And like I said, we're going to overburn this, so the fact that this is currently on land is not an issue. We're going to be coming down more like here or so, is the idea. But this will move under us, so we have to adjust it once we get up over here, or maybe like here. And we'll see where that ends up looking like. It'll probably be moved out a little bit this way. Cool. So we're currently heading up towards this position, and I want to just move us this way for now. SAS is not to be trusted. I'm going to manually pilot this. Fantastic. So let's just get this turned here. Any moment now. There we go. This frame rate is definitely not ideal, but it will significantly improve as bits of this get better. That's the idea, anyway. Bits of it will get better. Okay, so we're almost in position now. And once we are in position, no, don't select the maneuver. I was nowhere near selecting the maneuver. Select, like, out over here. Yeah. Okay, go ahead and time warp to this point. So that's going to freeze our physics here. We're not quite on the marker. That's understood. We're very close to the marker, though. And we're going to warp right on around here. And yeah, you can see that this is definitely rotating underneath us, which is absolutely expected. And are we going to have to move this at all? Yeah, it's going to have to be moved a little, I think. Can I grab this, please? That would be nice. Okay, there we go. So I want to move it to about here or so for now. We might need to move it a little further than this, but it shouldn't be too much more. Yeah, this is looking pretty decent. So we're going to align to it, and then we're going to warp to the burn. We're currently about 4 minutes away from the burn. We can probably move this out and delay that burn slightly more to about here or so. We're now about 2 minutes to the burn, and let's just get ourselves back out of physics warp here, or rather turn the physics back on, and let's just position ourselves right on this node. We're about 2 minutes away from it at this point. So this is looking good. And then we're going to warp forward to the node as soon as we're on it, which we're very, very close now. Yeah, SAS is definitely bringing us in. It's trying to coast now. Which is fine. We're close enough for that. I'm not too concerned about it. Okay. I'm going to start us burning now. We can gimbal the rest of the way. It's very, very close. Okay, so we're going to warp on in. We're about 2 minutes away from this burn time, and we can see that we will be over Explodium when we start this, and we'll be over Explodium when we end this, because we're going to overburn. So that is absolutely fine. We are guaranteed a splashdown here, which is the goal. Okay, so we'll commence this burn very shortly. The question is, are we going to enter the atmosphere this episode? I don't know. We'll find out. That'll be interesting. I was just looking at the at the vectors here. I thought they were bouncing around in time warp, which would have been very strange, but no, that's just like spectral aliasing. It's not really a problem. Okay. So we're going to start this burn in about 30 seconds as of right now, and we are absolutely commencing this burn shortly, but we need to warp a little further than this. So let's bring this up to 10x warp, and we'll enter warp, and the burn will commence shortly. This is kind of attempt 2 at doing this burn, because last time we discovered that the struts had all been deleted for some reason, but that is fine. So we're at 13 seconds away, 10 seconds away. So now I'm going to drop us out of warp. We're going to re-enable the physics. And we are 6 seconds away from our entry burn at this point. So this looks good. We're in approximately the exact orbit that we should have been, minus some inclination, but the inclination doesn't really have any bearing on this. In fact, it's probably less efficient for us to be at this inclination than at our original inclination, because we are going to need to meet back up with our pusher vehicle. So that is going to be a whole thing. We're currently 4 seconds away from starting this burn. Now 3, but these aren't real seconds, obviously. So 2 seconds away now. Anytime now, we'll go down to 1 second away. There we go, 1 second away. And we need to push spacebar to launch this stage. So that is now. Lighting up all the engines. And we are commencing our landing burn for realsies. I like it. So, according to the maneuver, this is going to be a 2-minute burn. We actually literally only just used this for timer mode, to be a timer to project where our landing range was going to be. So this is fine. We don't actually need this maneuver anymore. I'm going to get rid of it. We're just going to burn pure retrograde right now. We used that exclusively as a timer. So the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to run out of fuel on this engine. And that's fine. We're already below orbital velocity. I want to grab this so that we can see our fuel levels here. Yeah. So this engine is going to burn out very quickly, and that is absolutely understood. To be honest, I don't know why I kept this engine around. It's not really necessary. I just never got rid of it. Probably should have, to be honest, but it's fine. So we're going to be coming down on the day side here. I would like to try to even out our roll here and come down a little bit more evenly on that. So let's roll this right on over. We're going to have to do quite a lot of rolling to get that evened out, but that is absolutely understood. And let's just bring this on over. We're going to be gimbaling nicely, so that is absolutely fine. And we're going to be coming in relatively slowly compared to some of the ways that we've wanted to come in the past. But this is a very heavy payload, and that is absolutely understood. We are coming off of the retrograde node here because of this spin. So I'm going to try to bring this back a bit. And just slow down the spin a bit. Okay. So we're just trying to get ourselves into a position where we are relatively flat for wing purposes. That's the goal right now. We're at about half fuel remaining on this small external tank here, this center tank. So that is absolutely fine, and I'm going to start counteracting our roll at this point. And we'll see how close we end up being. But I want to position ourselves relatively upright here, is the idea. And you can see we've lost basically no altitude at this point. So that is absolutely understood. And it looks like we're going to need a little bit more roll than this. I think I overcorrected that. That's fine. I would rather overcorrect it than undercorrect it at this time. Okay, so we're going to get that going a little bit here. There we go. And let's just get that roll in position here. Not quite there yet. We will be ditching this tank fairly soon. That will not make much difference to our performance, to be honest. The real differentiation for our performance is going to be getting rid of these two sets of tanks. That's what's really going to do it. So that's fine. We know that we're going to have some spicy re-entry going on here, but it should be relatively okay. Like, we're gonna be moving pretty slow here. That's for sure. So we're just working on getting ourselves lined up nice and straight. Eventually we are going to enter the atmosphere, but not yet. And we're just remaining on this retrograde node for the moment. Okay. Still getting lined up. Of course, keep in mind, the game is running very slowly. So these movements are actually happening in-game quite quickly. This thing has a lot of torque to it. No doubt about that. Okay, we're almost lined up here. Almost. But not quite there yet. Okay. Let's start bringing this to a halt. I think we might overshoot it a little. It's actually looking pretty good. Okay, now we need to just realign ourselves on this node. I think we did overshoot ever so slightly, but that's fine. Okay, this engine is burnt out, so we need to stage. Right? This is not highlighting. Pause it. Okay, so with a little bit more performance, yes, this stage is correct. Get rid of it. So this will detach now. That is obnoxiously loud. This will detach eventually. Emphasis on eventually. There it goes. And now we're just working on positioning ourselves right on that retrograde node and holding close to this attitude. It's not perfect. We're going to be bouncing around a little bit here. This is because we're a little over-torqued probably, but this is absolutely fine. You can see here we've burnt out almost half of these big tanks, these big external tanks. So that's absolutely wonderful. We are delighted to see those go away. We've still not lost a kilometer yet, hilariously. But that is absolutely fine. If we take a look at our current trajectory, we can see that we are still working on overshooting this body of explodium, but that should change as we continue to burn. It should, in theory, be fine, unless our thrust to weight is way lower than I think it is. But based on what the maneuver was saying, it was a very doable thing. So this looks fine. It is about time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to quick save here, and I'm going to go ahead and put that cut in. And next episode, we're hopefully going to actually enter the atmosphere of Eve. I don't know of any issues right now, but we'll see. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.